Hello everyone. Hopefully the audio is coming through okay as I'm doing a two-screen method for this, but this is going to be my developer commentary for a deep dark ascent into the twisted concepts and unseen material of Epic Mickey and Epic Mickey 2, the first Epic Mickey video I ever made on my channel. I made this as one of the milestone videos I wanted to attempt. That logo there, I didn't say it. I don't think I said in the video, but that logo is a original design that they didn't use. And this was a massive undertaking when I first created this.
Deus Ex
So,
Warren Spector. Junction points.
no, this is a lot of my early editing, as you can tell, because it's just a lot of still slides like this. And I decided to start with Paulk narrating. I get into it a little really soon, but this video started out as an idea all the way back in April of 2022. So it has been over a year now since I wanted to start making this video. And a lot of that has to do with Ant Dude. Like, I kind of undersold it in this video, how important Ant Dude's video about the Epic Mickey series was to me starting this. Because of him, I learned about, well, the concept art, and that gave me just so many ideas when I started to look into it more, which is why we are here now. And yeah, Paulk describes it. Again, I learned a lot from watching other YouTube videos about this topic, but the concept art from 2008 was never supposed to come out to the public, and yet we still found it, so we got our hopes up way too high for the game itself. But I was really young when that concept art was leaked, so I knew nothing about it. Yeah, all these videos are great, but no, Ant Dudes I owe so much to, because he is the person who inspired me to make this video in the first place. And he did a small shout out in one live stream when I gave him donation and thanked him for his inspirations that he's given me. That isn't in this video, but I will probably put it in another one. But it meant so much that what he has done. But since this is about looking at the art, not the video games, I wanted to focus on that.
Like a lack of voice acting, an especially poorly controlling camera system arose from reviewers and casual fans alike. But the scar left from people.
Paulk here is drawn in his traditional style with the yellow shirt and the yellow head. His neck is made from ink like his body, but his shirt is usually yellow. And as I talk about in a little bit, he changes it to celebrate. But his shirt is usually yellow because of his ties to Benny and the Ink Machine.
I am taking you down a path Disney never.
Ignore those, that's just Discord.
A hand thee played with the darker and truly grim side of Disney.
Paulk is very hard to voice, and I've talked about it in my 3rd anniversary video, but I hate breaking character like this when I'm talking about the other characters on my channel, like Paulk, Weekend Deadpool, and Logan Emo.
Stuffed animals and Mickey ears.
I really tried to make this shot work. You can tell with the coloring. The idea was that the parts that are darker black is him coming out of the mirror, but I just couldn't get the right angle on it. I did a better version of this a long time ago, but it wasn't for this. Here we go, see. So no, Paulk usually has a yellow shirt. Doing Paulk's voice is very difficult, because I'm still trying to find that right tone to it to make it more mysterious and dark.
To celebrate this in style. Well,
yeah, Karen has done a lot of work for me. I really appreciate all of her incredible work. Yeah, I decided to break this up into galleries to try and break up the themes more. But yeah, this was a very important piece to start out with, because I really need to establish how important Oswald is to this franchise, and back when he was a much darker entity in these games.
The number one priority of the higher-ups was how kids reacted to what was being made.
How kids would react to it. Boy, did that bite them in the foot later, for anyone who has seen the behind-the-scenes for Frozen 2.
Insert horribly aged racist and extremely sexist imagery here. Before I was interrupted, then for the most part...
I like that joke. I think that still works out pretty well. Now, the number one issue with the editing, because all of this is edited by myself, is that I don't have good transitional editing yet. Especially for cutting clips like that, which is something I'm working on with my more recent videos. And you can really tell in this one that that's an issue.
Repeat myself every time if I can avoid it. I love the
Using the Walt Disney Pictures logo there is a reference to YouTubers like Phantom Strider and the Nostalgia Critic, who have done that before for something like overly dark. Just do the da-na-na-na-na logo, and that always makes me laugh. So that's why I try to use it here.
Called the jug pump. That was canceled. The giant paint thinner jug was empty and held a major character inside. And here the giant lifter monsters would scoop.
Yeah, they're lifters. The lifters did not make it to the final version of the first game. They're interesting characters, but they didn't make it to the final version. I didn't talk about that castle in the background. I don't know if I noticed that. That's holed up really thin. That's very interesting. Now, the number one issue with this video for me is the voice setting, is the voiceover. And it's because it keeps going in and out so much that it is really awkward. And we get some gah moments in the headphones that I was really frustrated with. This was before I got my new mic, which is what I used to record the second episode with. And I think it worked better there.
Combined with forgotten 30
yeah.
Instead, we got a bunch of original characters that left such a minimal impact in return.
So when I say new characters left a minimal impact, what I mean is that I'm not a huge fan of the Gremlins, and I don't think they're bad characters, I'm just not really into them, and that might upset a lot of people, especially Epic Mickey fans, but it is what it is. Yeah, those brambles are like straight out of the original Sleeping Beauty when Prince Philip is charging through the castle. And I love the swaying of the castle, like it's so distorted. I really like how it looks. Like that looks like Dark Beauty castle.
This was an early version of the introduction with Oswald attacking you instead of the Mad Doctor. Notice how
this is a very important piece.
Sharp, evil pizza cutter in Mickey's face.
Yeah, like look at it. That's a pizza wheel. That's not a knife or a saw. It's just a pizza wheel. Why did they do that?
Scissors, rotating eyeball, and then a random plunger with a poison symbol in Mickey's face and slams it against his chest.
Yeah, so in the opening cutscene of the original Epic Mickey, the actual game,
official, friendlier for kids version. See the
Mad Doctor is like pulling this lever and it keeps showing logos on it as each new weapon comes out. But when he pulls it, it has an X for poison, a skull for poison, a plunger just pops up. And I still don't get what that was supposed to be.
Already proved Disney cannot do a Dark Wonderland well, and other people seriously can.
Yeah, like right there, that's a great example. Play Alice Madness Returns, especially now that we're never getting a third American McGee Alice game. But that's a really good example there of what I mean by the audio issues.
At least they would have been obligated to use the characters we actually like for this game instead of the idiots that Tim Burton thought were perfect for a world without rules and logic by inserting more rules and logic.
So to be clear, I'm exclusively referring to the first live-action Disney Alice in Wonderland, which Tim Burton directed, that I'm not a fan of. Okay. This highlighter here, I have asked fandom, I have asked people in the community, people in the fandoms about this. We have no idea what this liquid is supposed to be. This purple oozing liquid.
Taking a purple and pink striped cat and turning him into a grained Garfield with bug eyes. This was an early concept art.
Yeah, we still don't know what that purple stuff is. This is a great piece. I'm really curious about this. I love the 420 in the background randomly. But yeah, there's like little details like that. Like that Mad Hatter here. That is an X-Acto knife for a finger instead of a thumb. That's a really neat. That's a really cool idea. And I really like the long-billed Donald there.
Graffiti over a Mickey head and the 420 date. Whatever that could mean. We'll never know.
I have no idea why there's a 420 there. Paulk just said it, but no, this is so pretty. Like, I don't see why something like this couldn't have been in the final game. This is such a pretty shot. And it really communicates a lot. And just the thinner, the gaseous thinner just swirling around the ball of paint, I really like. If you're up for an obscure reference, it reminds me of the Unimind from the Buzz Lightyear Star Command animated movie. It reminds me of that, honestly. If you've seen that movie, you'll know what I mean.
This piece is simply known as
Yeah, this I'm really curious about, because again, this is an early example of Mickey using his powers without the paintbrush. So I'm very curious about that. I'm going to turn down the volume a bit more. Okay, I'm just worried that my voice is going to be too loud and it won't mesh well with Paulk's. Bog Easy is a good zone. Again, like, I know that I'm really harsh on both games in this video, but I do like the first Epic Mickey. It just really frustrates me what we could have gotten. This is such a cool shot. Like, if you want to go into game design, this is an awesome picture to learn more about. I don't think I gave enough credit to this piece. It's super cool. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of little details. I really, really like it. And I have plans for that spooky tree. Like, I have plans for that in the future with my videos. I love that, like, they even used actual pictures of the ride, IRL. That's a great detail. I really like that they used that. That really shows a lot of additional effort, and it's really nice to see. This is such an important part. Like, I highly recommend you check it out if you want to get into game design. It's a great example of just the more intricate breaking down details. Yeah, so apparently this is supposed to be the Matterhorn Mountain, apparently location-wise.
Boss fight battling him and a mech he built called the Steambot on Matterhorn Mountain.
The Steambot is a boring name. It makes sense for Oswald, but it's a boring name. But you can see his remote there. That's the exact same remote that he uses in Yeah, so Mean Street repeatedly they wanted to do more with instead of it just being the basic overworld. I really like this shot. I think a great choice for the Haunted Mansion is to have the pillars of the front broken but still held up like that. But it's a really cool shot. And it reminds me of multiple Scooby-Doo episodes, especially the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You? If you guys liked my Epic Mickey's Origin video talking about Epic Mickey and the Mad Doctor, I would love to do that for Scooby-Doo Where Are You episodes, because those episodes, the original Scooby-Doo show, has amazing backgrounds. So trust me, I would so talk about those backgrounds in the future in the original Scooby-Doo series if you want me to. I want this picture framed. Like, this piece right here, I want it framed. This is so pretty. Look at that. That looks like straight out of a movie set. I love how this looks. Exactly. Like, this shot is gorgeous. Like, it's easily my favorite landscape and level design in this video.
The transition for our next portion of the gallery, entitled
The Shadow Blot. Gallery 2. No, I have plans for those trees, trust me. This is my favorite gallery.
Amazing. And my absolute favorite part of this franchise. It's very much a high
That hasn't changed.
Fantasia's Chernobog, classic pulp horror comics, and epic.
Not everyone understands that Chernobog is pronounced. The T is silent. Yeah. Phantom Blot. I talk about this with people a lot. The Phantom Blot came first. Phantom Shadow, of course, from Scooby-Doo, because when I was writing the script, I would get those names screwed up a lot. There's your little sneak peek of Epic Mickey 2. Yeah, just like all of the art around this guy. If Paulk wasn't obvious, I love giant inky monsters like this. I think they can create a sense of claustrophobia, drowning, loss, but most of all, possession and corruption. And I love hypnosis and corruption stories when done right. This model is in the game. I have since found, some friends have helped me find some models of this with him having the red eyes, and I do think he looks better that way. I understand why other people have said, I don't get why this game is E for everyone. I thought it was E10 and up, but no, both of them are E for everyone. No, I get that the green on him.
Show me how just changing his colors makes him scary.
That design is legit scary, in my opinion. Yeah, the idea is that all of this is being edited by me, even when Paulk is hosting it. No, so I get that because the Shadow Blot is mostly made up of thinner, that's why his insides are green. but because of the way they did it, it really looks like he has glow sticks in him, and it looks really silly to me sometimes, in game at least. Like, I love the shadow blot, but in game he can look really dumb sometimes, in my opinion. And I don't like how ridiculously purple his design is in cutscenes. They color him very purple instead of black, and it just looks weird. No, like his back, it looks like boils and pus-filled blotches and spots and warts, which really doesn't communicate his design very well to me. It's a cool piece, but I don't think this would have worked in the game itself. Yeah, he looks more like a swamp creature, or like an alien Buck Rogers would fight on an alien world. And this is it.
This is one of the best official pieces of art for a video game I've ever seen in my life. This is the kind of image I would get framed in my own room. It's nothing short of utterly gorgeous. I can't get over the sheer size and beauty of this drawing. This is epic Mickey. This is visual storytelling. This is something only Disney can do.
If they ever make that epic Mickey movie, which you can see in my second video, or if someone makes a fan version, just use this image as the poster. Just put the text on the top and bottom and use this image. That's all you need. I love this piece so much. I just let Paulk do the talking there, but I love that piece so much. Yeah, this one, because of the like hallway structure of it, reminds me of the box to cover of to Castle of Illusion. Not Castle of Illusion, Power of Illusion, which I will talk about next with Weekend Deadpool.
Which I'm not covering today. Next one.
But no, like the green eyes I think works there.
That's just a mini boss.
So, yeah, people corrected me on this, rightfully so, but no, that's supposed to be a mini boss design. Like, that is supposed to be the way it is, but he just looked more like a Splodoosh to me because of his smaller size there. Yeah, it didn't look like the Shadow Blot. It looked like a shrunken Phase 1 version of him. And because of a little tuft in his hair, he looks like the Ghostbusters logo. You know, a little soul jab at Ghostbusters there.
Fun fact, that guy's name is actually Moogle.
Yeah, officially the Ghostbusters logo ghost, his name is Moogly. Ray named him that. Yeah, I like this shot a lot. Like, this is a great shot, and it really reminds me of Jafar, especially with the lower jaw looking like Jafar's mustache, squiggly little beard.
Defiant, facing the monster he created, and in trying to destroy, accidentally harmed an entire world in the process. Bravely facing down his ultimate physical and mental demon of this game, all alone. And no, Paul, I have to interrupt you. Seriously, it pains me. The genuine, epic, dark, dramatic story that could have been done with all of this. God, the missed potential writes itself.
Yeah, like, even if you like Epic Mickey, even if it's like your favorite game of all time,
making it easier for you to criticize. This was really hard to research, and it's extremely hard to edit, and you're not helping. Moving on.
That was supposed to be edited to move a lot smoother, but I really like that joke. Yeah, this was really important to show the comparison, because the drop wings... Okay, the enemies are probably the thing in the first Epic Mickey that pisses me off the most, because they look utterly pathetic. Like, and they genuinely look like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse characters. Like, look at that in-game design. I could see that thing in the Clubhouse. He looks ridiculous. Like, look at these designs. It's so much better.
That was almost 2 decades before this game. They could have gotten away with so much more than...
Yeah, like, even something like The Black Cauldron, a movie that I'm not fond of, went a lot darker than this game, and it really frustrates me.
Disney Junior bad guys, the enemy designs and personality.
Yeah, Disney Junior bad guys. I'm not exaggerating on that. That's how he looks. But no, what I was trying to say, okay, this is the shot. This is like the picture that I sent to a lot of my friends when I was working on this video. And it's what I used in the promotional material because I think it was a great representation of just how twisted and dark this series was going to get as it's gotten so far. And it's a really great example of both Mickey becoming corrupted by the paintbrush and the shadow blot that I think paired really well together. But getting back to what I said, even if you love Epic Mickey, even if it's like your favorite game of all time, can we agree that I could write the story better than what they gave us? It was a really basic and straightforward message, and I really think I could have written a better version of it. Yeah, this is supposed to be like a breather just because I don't want to completely devalue the plot's design, because like in a shot like this, it looks really good. And it was well cropped too. When I found this image, it was well cropped too, so it helped communicate it. I've asked some other members of the fan base to do this, and they haven't yet. But because of the way the Blot's mouth is designed, I need someone to draw it like a cage, and like someone like Oswald trapped inside it. I haven't seen someone do that yet, and I think that would look really cool. If you just like gently use the stretched lines that make up his mouth, and and drew them more like a cage with someone stuck inside them. Now, I reference Ghostbusters 2 here because this is what it feels like. It feels like they were making Ghostbusters, and then Disney demanded they make Ghostbusters 2. Yeah, honestly. Okay, so here's the really crucial stuff. I talked about this before, but the original version of the story... Excuse me. The original version of the story, the Shadow Blot was going to possess Oswald, and it was going to look more like him in the final version. And it was going to take off from Oswald's jealousy and resentment of Mickey becoming more famous as he was forgotten by time, even though that's not historically how it worked, but still. So that's how this was going to work. But it's important to notice that the genie from Aladdin is one of the people trapped in Oswald there, which really sticks out to me. Like, that's a creepy idea that he's that powerful, he can take the genie without any troubles. But Disney had an absolute cow over the idea of Oswald being portrayed so negatively in his first return in decades. Even though that would have just had an impact on merchandise, which is all they cared about. I genuinely feel like the number one reason Epic Mickey exists was so that they could get the rights to Oswald back, which they do now have, and endlessly pump out merchandise with him. Yeah, this is another good example. Like, I wanted to use this picture just to really communicate how they were going to use Oswald and make a few references too, because again, I was editing and making this video officially around August to October of 2022. Yeah, it looks a little like the party tent in Mario Party 8. Means a lot to me. Yeah, this is a great coloring because this is one of the more colorful drawings in all of it that I really like. But this was August through October when I was working on this video, so Stranger Things Season 4 was on my mind with Vecna and all that, so it really looked like a red sky from Stranger Things. Yeah, and Darkview Castle, because of that green, looks like the Emerald City for some reason, which really makes me laugh. Imagine Wicked in Epic Mickey, that'd be pretty funny. God, every time I say the Shadow Blot... Well, I made Bendy, I love that name. Every time I say the Shadow Blot in this, in the back of my head, I keep thinking, the Shadow Man from Princess and the Frog, which is one of my favorite movies ever. You gotta really squint here, but Mickey is at the bottom of that drawing, which again really communicates just the epic size and scale the Blot was supposed to have, that they kind of translated in the final version, especially with the Storm Blot, but not enough in my eyes. Again, like, this is so Chernobog. Like, this design. Yeah, and like, just like the designs, it's like, and like, the more I look at it because of the tentacles, it's like he's a hybrid between an octopus and Chernobog. Like, he's a hybrid between Cruella and Chernobog. No, not Cruella, Ursula and Chernobog, if that makes sense. And just like, because of the blue lighting, it looks like Mickey is holding the paintbrush like Thor Odinson. And it looks just awesome. And just, he really looks like Satan with the flared lower chin and beard.
Holy shit, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen for a video game.
Yeah, okay, so, oh boy, I'm not going to pause here because I read all of this, but this is the section I was most curious how people would react, and yet not a lot of people discussed it. I was really hoping to see more feedback on. Like, no, this is the big one, people. This, if you're a Mickey fan, you don't want to see what they did to him originally. And no, like, this really says a lot. What Warren Spector said here. Sorry, very tired today. No, this quote from Warren here says so much. It says so much about Epic Mickey's development. Gave the development team a lot of creative freedom. I doubt that. I genuinely doubt that concerning the final version. But yeah, just a hard time swallowing the idea of Mickey's appearance. Like, this is how important Mickey is as a logo, as a mascot to Disney, PR-wise. That, no, we couldn't possibly have Mickey look bad if he made bad choices. Just the world has bad things happen to it. Well, Mickey himself can't look bad. You should feel bad for doing the wrong thing. And that's what the really watered down the paint thinner mechanic into. And I really don't think it worked well. Yeah, this is an interesting design, but I just don't think it will have worked well. He honestly looks like Yakko Warner, kind of, now that I look at it. Especially with the thinner physique. So I don't think it would have worked well for this game, but it was a fair shot, and I like the idea of them experimenting with new redesigns for Mickey.
Something we'll touch upon more soon. But I don't think this design would have worked well enough for a classic Mickey. He's honestly proportionate.
Yeah, especially when it's supposed to be like a classic return to Mickey's roots and characters. It didn't work as well. This is a really cool shot. Like, again, this is the stuff you weren't supposed to have seen, that Disney didn't want you to see. And, like, this is a really cool idea. Like, actually funneling yourself into your powers, tearing part of yourself away to survive. It's like, really, like, I do think there's two different versions of the darker Epic Mickey we could have gotten. I really think there's two versions. One involves the paintbrush, and the other is literally a T for teen, dark fantasy, badass Epic Mickey game that I think is somewhere in another universe. See, like this. Before they created the paintbrush, and just he was using his own hands and ink.
Which probably turned into the thinner concept. I like the paintbrush, and it's
Yeah, I think that evolved into the paint and thinner concept. So this is more just like a what if or an other Elseworld idea rather than I wish this was the final Epic Mickey, because I do like the paintbrush mechanic.
Disney, everybody. Mickey Mouse
Yep.
a tide of ink and throwing balls of ink, and a version of the Phantom Blot, yes, really, that looks like one of the most awesome Grim Reaper designs you've ever seen, with a massive cast.
Like, look at him. That's an awesome Grim Reaper face. But no, like that, like
in a fan-made drawing of Epic Mickey years after it was
like seriously, like this is something you would find on an art site by someone years later in the new current age of fandoms and artists and commissions. This is something I would find now, not officially by Disney concept art. And it looks so cool.
unused design for a monstrous Mickey.
Yeah, there's another version of this, like a monstrous Mickey that is actually one of the spatters dressed like Mickey in a giant version of him. That's in one of the videos I referenced at the beginning. That I'll probably discuss in a future video. But no, like, it's a little too creepy for my taste, but I think this was a worthy idea for an anime. But I'm glad he didn't make it in the final version, honestly.
Too out of place, unless it was created by the Mad Doctor or something very late.
Yeah, like, I don't think Mickey... I think there should only be one Mickey in Epic Mickey. And if you're going to do scary stuff, you do the scary stuff with Mickey himself, like right here. Because, like, I love this idea so much of the paint and ink ripping off of him into his powers. And the more and more you end up doing it, the more corrupted and insane you become. But I will fully give them credit mechanically. That wouldn't have translated well to a 3D model. I don't think they could have made that work in 2009. I just don't think that would have worked out when they were making the game. It's such a cool idea, but there really just wasn't enough to it to work mechanically, especially as a Wii exclusive. But like in a comic book or an animated movie, that so would have worked. Yeah, Black and White is from the 2013 Mickey Mouse shorts, which are really good. Like, make sure you check them out. They're a lot of fun, but that's what reminded me of most. And I managed to find a really good screenshot of it there.
Awesome design made by Danny Hamilton.
Yeah, like,
Thinner
Jesus, look at, like, that's Mickey Mouse right there. And just look at him. That's such a savage, brilliant idea. And I love the blue outlines being a skeleton. Like, this is what it should have been if the game had, like, a 2D element, was more 2D, or if it was, like, a movie or a comic book. This is what we needed. Like, if it was more this, in the right visual environment, I would be fine with them not using the paintbrush.
Again, I can cut a little slack more, and that recognizing that melting works better for the game in a 3D environment, opposed to him being stripped down like this. As it's
Well, quote unquote melting, I'll discuss this in the future, but I mean more the paint droplets flying up him into the air. Yeah, I gave this disclaimer because no one said anything about her, like, how could you do this, or Jesus, that's so scary. But I felt that way because I genuinely, like, didn't want to catch anyone completely off guard. Because this image coming up is in Ant Dude's video, so it was one of the first pieces of concept I ever saw.
I'm not exaggerating when I say.
No, I'm not exaggerating. I can still consider this the scariest image yet in the Epic Mickey, in the entire Epic Mickey canon.
Let's do this.
IRL.
Welcome to one of the scariest illustrations I've ever seen in my life.
Like, that piece legitimately terrified me. And Evil Mickey. Not thinner Mickey, not scrapper Mickey.
I saw it.
Evil Mickey.
I need to see the rest of this collection. Please really look at all of it. Note how intense the
Like, I think
especially shading techniques are that were used.
this is what Warren Spector had in mind
Are cracking.
when he wanted to make an Epic Mickey game. I think he had more of this in mind. And if not him, at least one of the illustrators. This is like if the Shadow Blot possessed Mickey instead of Oswald and fully corrupted him. Like, just look at that shadow work. And, like, that's what I find those green eyes actually scary there, and I don't think it would have worked as well with the red eyes, because it would have been too bright a color to use. So I really think it translated well here, and it's just so scary to look at. And I utterly love it. I think it works out so well.
Favorite drawing in this entire gallery, and easily the darkest thing I've ever seen related to a Disney property, especially the most famous animated character of all time.
Like, even with the unused content for the Black Cauldron, which I've seen, and like how it would have almost gotten the movie an R rating if they kept that in, I still think this is the scariest thing from Disney I've ever seen, officially. Yeah, and I want to take a quick break before just jumping into the next section with that. And these are some really cool concepts for weapons and ideas. I think just making it the paint and thinner worked well, but there's some really cool ideas here that I like a lot. And I'm glad that the ideas at least exist for us to discuss. I think the switchless brush holding could have been cool, but I don't know.
Counterattack by spinning it into a shield, and even
the counterattack I don't think was necessary, especially since the combat is really basic, and you have the spin attack for that.
He wields a gun.
Yeah, I tried to directly imitate the announcer's voice from the Nintendo Direct. That's intermission, so take a breath, grab a drink, and we'll see you for the developer's commentary in just a second. Just a second, we'll see you soon. Okay, we are back. I hope you had a nice, quick intermission. I just needed to adjust a few things, turn off notifications, and get back to it. The intermission is now up, and let's keep going. Gallery 4. This is the gallery that I'm going to do a lot more of in my 100 views video, which is happening. Yeah, so... Sorry, a thunderstorm is starting outside with the wind kicking up. But yeah, this guy's called the Guardian, and I originally thought he was an Epic Mickey 2 concept, but when I reread the wiki, no, he was for the first game. Which makes sense, but she's like, that really doesn't look like anything. His head kind of looks like Nemesis from RE3, honestly, especially the remake version. But no, like, if you're familiar with the Abandoned by Disney creepypasta, he looks like a creepypasta character, in my opinion. Like, honestly, like the Pale Man or the Pale Beast or something like that.
This was the earliest days of this game.
Yeah, like stuff like this was just the earliest days of the concept art, and like there's way more of this that I will just like cover in the future videos. I just like was at this point I was very tired. I had barely gotten a lot done on the project in a long while, but there's still like so much left to cover and edit, and I still had to talk about Epic Mickey 2. So for the most part, I just decided to talk about the most standout parts that I really wanted to cover.
Coming out of a crocodile's mouth, Jafar's twisted face, a flamingo.
When I say Jafar's twisted face there, that's a reference to a really, really damn good musical you can actually find on YouTube. It's called Twisted. It's a parody of Wicked, but with Jafar. And it's not for kids, much like this video. It's not for kids. Like, I'm fine with kids watching this if it scares them. But no, Twisted is not for kids, so don't watch it if you're underage. And no, yeah, like those top designs, especially the hooded one, those were ideas for the Shadow Block. Like, this is when they were literally just finding out what will Disney let us make. Not, yeah, we're going to put this in the game. What is Disney letting us make? Let your imaginations run wild with this stuff. And I really love it. But just like there's a lot of it, and I was super tired, so I will talk about more of it in the future, I promise. Just bear with me, please. And yeah, like I couldn't find a proper PNG in this. For some reason, I couldn't find a PNG of just a Mickey Mouse hat like you get at Disneyland, so I couldn't crop it right. But it looks like I'm a champ. Okay, this part really shows how frustrating the editing is because anytime I record something right now on my editing software, there's a brief pause between clips that's really frustrating.
Epic Mickey 2 is one of the worst sequels to a Disney game in history. The story is boring, the plot slogs on, the twists are obvious, the voice acting doesn't fit here, the game is 85% fetch quests and padding, it's even brighter and more kid-friendly than the first game, the AI is atrocious, they still didn't fix the goddamn camera issues, the worlds are even...
Second curse word I used in this, whoops. Like, I really didn't mean to cuss much in this one. I don't like cussing a lot in general, but I really didn't mean to for a video like this. But this game pisses me off so much when I really think about all of its problems. And, like, you'd be shocked how many people have only played Epic Mickey 2, so that's the one they're nostalgic for. Like, they haven't even played the first one, just the second one, and, like, that's the one they grew up on. And it's so frustrating. I legitimately don't like this game. It's a bit hyperbole here, mostly for comedic effect, and to really explain how much I don't like this game. But I don't outright hate it. It just really, 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 really upsets me. It is super frustrating, and it really shows how long it took me to make this, that Paulk goes back to wearing a yellow shirt here, and it was supposed to be the green shirt the entire time.
Without further ado, we now present our final section of the gallery, Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 1+1.
I changed the title because, seriously, Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 2. That is stupidly redundant. It's really annoying. Yeah, Ivanhoe is a great novel. I love Ivanhoe. It means a lot to me. So yeah, it's one of my favorite novels of all time, if not my absolute favorite. But Robin Hood means a lot to me, so I was really upset to learn that was a planned world for Epic Mickey 2 that never got used. I don't remember if I mentioned it here, but I can see Hortensia in the background of Oswald this time.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, like, but wait, there's more. Like, that just didn't flow as fast as I wanted it to. Yeah. Here I said Orticia. I meant Hortensia. Like, Oswald's girlfriend is a cat named Hortensia, not Orticia. That was a mistake on my part. And you can see her flinging an ink blot, much like Mickey in some of the first concept art. So it really sticks out. And, like, this would have been, like, just a really, really fun world to explore with them. I don't think Robin Hood has been used in Kingdom Hearts. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
game with official concept art. But for the
Yeah, Jungle Book has concept art for this game that wasn't used that I didn't show here. Like, there's a lot to return to with the first two games that I just haven't covered in this one.
The deleted scene that ended the climax.
Yeah, if you haven't, you have to watch the deleted scene to Robin Hood. Like, that is like would have really, really helped the film I already love. Like, it really should have been in the final cut.
The only evidence I can find of both
Yeah,
Pluto and the Hunchback of Notre Dame ever being in an epic Mickey.
as of now, this is the only evidence I have of the Hunchback of Notre Dame or Pluto ever being an epic Mickey. But jeez, like, I'm amazed they even considered a giant blotling Pluto. Like, that's legit scary, and I'm very surprised they actually even considered doing that. Like, jeez, that's dark. And yeah, but Hunchback of Notre Dame has appeared in some of the Kingdom Hearts games. I don't think Robin Hood has, so I want to make sure I referenced it. Yeah, don't watch the Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. It's horrible. This is the only evidence I have of Nightmare Before Christmas ever being involved in an Epic Mickey game, which is a real shame, because like a blotling Oogie Boogie would have been awesome to see. So it's a real shame that this is all we have of it, but it is what it is.
Battles in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, maybe even inspiration from the comic books, which I haven't read, but clearly all of
there's a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street. Epic Mickey Nightmare on Elm Street. That's the game I want. That would be hilarious. Nightmare on Elm Street Epic Mickey Edition. Yeah, first time Oogie Boogie died, that legit scared me as a kid.
Didn't that scare you as a kid the first time you saw it? Shut up, Paulk.
Yep.
This is some early.
Like, that part worked out well.
Was going to be used as promotional material.
Yeah, and again, like, this is a really good example of that. Like, the second game, they knew there's a lot less they were even going to be able to get away with. They knew there was very little they were going to get away with by comparison. So there's a lot less to talk about, in my opinion, because the.
So stupid. Just call them by their names.
Yeah, I don't like the term variance. It's used in Spider-Man a lot, especially recently. I think variance is a stupid name. It's used in Loki, it's used in Spider-Man. I don't get it. It's a really stupid version. Yeah, the final boss is this kind of like spider-like mech with the Enchanted Tiki Room design that the Mad Doctor's writing. And yeah, this concept art shows that battle is going to take place on Mean Street instead of where in the Mad Doctor's attic, where it does end up. That's a reference to that Stan Lee was always upset when people got the hyphen wrong in Spider-Man. Yeah, an important detail there is that, yeah, like, when the snake staff mouth is open, that means he's become the most powerful sorcerer in the world. That's like a little detail they added in the original movie.
Which sucks, and you all know it.
Yeah,
right down to even the damn eyeballs being the same.
I don't want to do, like, a huge soapbox about it, but I hate the live-action Scooby-Doo movies. So I really wanted to just slip in that little jab there. Like, this is a very pretty design. Like, again, like, Epic Mickey 2 doesn't look phenomenal, but it had some good ideas and some good zones to it. I legitimately think it did. Not amazing.
Pretty unique.
Yeah, Disney Gulch, there's a lot to Disney Gulch that I'm going to cover in the future, because especially the prototype version of it was a lot scarier than this. But there's a lot in this drawing that stuck out to me that I really wanted to point out, especially the melting Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket heads that are in the prototype version of Disney Gulch. But no, I will cover that in the future, I promise. So don't worry, Charles. Again, like, I soapboxed a little too much or make references and tangents on stuff like that, like the live-action Pinocchio remake and just stuff like that, and I'm going to try and do that less in the future. People don't seem to mind it, but still, I want to do better. I wonder what that purple stuff is for. Too bad we'll never know. This is the only evidence I have of it being an Epic Mickey 2. But no, like, since this seems to be a beta screenshot of Epic Mickey 2, like a screenshot of a beta or prototype build of it, I think we can maybe find that somewhere. like footage of that purple stuff or what it was for somewhere.
Fandom wiki literally just says a scrapped object from Disney Gulch that appears to be modeled after Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, I think this isn't the prototype version of Disney Gulch. I have to look for it, but it legitimately just disturbs me enough that I decided to put it in here. Like, it's just like, what?
But it's
Yeah, and like it looks like a lame creepypasta. Honestly, like Red Mist.
Especially with the severe.
No, I deliberately didn't make a Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey reference here because that's its own thing. It's supposed to be its own thing technically.
All that remains.
Yeah.
Snippets about the cancer.
The Venus flytrap was there just because I wanted to add a little more to it. I like Venus flytraps. And the pink ribbon there is a reference to Breast Cancer Awareness Month because this video came out in October. And October I love a lot. So yeah, the movie, Donald Duck, and then EM2 Sucks is a reference to the Blot Sucks graffiti from earlier in the video, which was really fun to do. Yeah, and I had to reference this one when I started to learn about Epic Donald, which I talked about in the next video. This one stood out at me because Donald Duck is literally holding a machine gun. Even though it's a stun gun, it's still a machine gun.
Thank you for allowing me some time on my own channel to discuss this franchise with you. I appreciate your insistence on doing this together.
Hey guys, can I cameo too? I want to talk about the third one no one remembers, Power of Illusion.
Are you going to tell him or should I? Do we have to tell him?
Yeah, Weekend Deadpool had not been a part of the channel for very long, so I wrote that really long disclaimer. And here comes the epilogue, but I like his cameo. I think it's very cute, and it helps build up Power of Illusion for the future.
And only selling 529,000 copies.
Yeah, so again, and a correction I made in the following video that I didn't make here because I didn't fully do enough of my research is that it wasn't just the low sales of the first of Epic Mickey 2, which were really poor.
Oswald merchandise.
It was because Disney decided they want to focus on tablet and mobile games a lot more, which confuses me why we never got a mobile Epic Mickey game, because I can see that happening, but we just flat out didn't, which is why we have things like Temple Run Brave, which is a thing. And I made Silent Hill references here because I really feel like the games themselves, because of their problems and flaws, especially mechanically and technically, I think wouldn't have happened if an already existing studio had worked on this instead of this being Junction Point's first game ever. You can still have Warren Spector, but I really don't think it should have been a brand new studio making this. Yeah, so again, I don't like breaking character to talk about stuff like this, but I decided not to use the glasses when playing Paulk in real life for this because it's too distracting. But I don't have makeup or face paint yet that I use. If I start using that, then Paulk will look a lot better. Because just the hair pulled down to my eyes is supposed to represent that better, but I don't have bangs that are long enough. But I'm really proud of this monologue. I wrote this entire monologue and then printed it out so I won't forget any of it and did it all in one take. And I really like how it turned out. It was a really good monologue about just the state of Epic Mickey and how I feel about the franchise overall. At the time, at least. And I'm really pleased with how it turned out.
One we'll probably never see again. We can be grateful we at least have in our lives, nonetheless.
And no, I've lost any hope for the most part, that Disney will ever return to Epic Mickey or acknowledge its existence outside of copyright claiming my videos and others, which has happened already. But I really don't think that they're ever going to return to this or recognize its existence. But I keep at least a little hope alive still, because that's not necessary. And like Rogue One said, rebellions are built on hope. And like, no matter what happens, and no matter if they ever come to the franchise again, we'll always have what's there. And yeah, I'm not positive how many people have seen this part. Yeah, so 50 views was Epic Donald 3 in the movie, which I covered. 75 views is the video you're now watching, which I finally got to. And next up is going to be Epic Mickey Power Evolution. We hit all of these milestones, so once I talk about Power Evolution with Weekend Deadpool, then we're going to return to Epic Mickey 1 and 2 and the concepts that I discussed. I decided to add my sources because I thought it was the best move. But yeah, the videos were really helpful, but the concept art from the Epic Mickey fandom was utterly crucial, and I could not have done it without those videos. Jcrafter Official, or Meme now on Insta, I can't thank you enough for this thumbnail. Like, you got this done in like less than 2 weeks after I out of nowhere asked you to try and do this for me, and I am so happy with how it turned out. And look, right there is Ant Dude's video right there, so go check it out. Watch my videos and then go check his out because it's so good. And if you want me to do a commentary on the second Epic Mickey video I did with Epic Donald, Epic Mickey 3, and the Epic Mickey movie, you guys all know what to do. Subscribe, watch the videos, and comment below, because your feedback for this series is really crucial, so I know what you guys want to see more of and what you want to learn more about. I really enjoyed doing this commentary. It took me way too long to get to it, but it's been such a long road, and the feedback and support on this series and my channel overall has been incredible. We are now at 120 subscribers, and that is a really special milestone to have hit for me. But I really want to just keep climbing and keep going, and I can only do that with your guys' support. So with all of that, this is really fun to look back on this and just think about all the editing and development of it, but I definitely need to start working on the future stuff. So with all that being said, I'm Paul, and with my demon Paulk, thank you so much for listening to my little ramblings about this franchise and this series I started. And hopefully we'll see you next time. Stay tuned.
You tell
Paul W.
he'll never eat lunch in this town again.